Hello everyone, welcome to Otaku Talk. It's me, your boy, your host, OD, and today we'll be reviewing and analyzing chapter 1082 of One Piece. Honestly, I should have had this review out like Wednesday or Thursday. Wasn't actually prepared for them to drop this chapter this early, so I apologize for that. I just simply didn't have time. I just was not prepared, so enough excuses. If this is your first time on this channel, I would greatly appreciate it if you could like, share, and subscribe. If you've been here before, it's all right. Go ahead and like, share, and subscribe now. I'll forgive you. Anyway, without much further ado, let's get into this review. All right, chapter 1082 of One Piece. Let's go and claim it. So, we have a cover art here, and it is Chopper eating Zeus, confusing him for cotton candy. Very cute, very clever. Moving on. We get into this chapter, and we find out that, the bounties that Crossguild has been putting on the Marines have actually bear fruit. Apparently, T-Bone, a former, what was he? Captain or something. I forget what he was before, but he's currently a rear admiral. He was killed by I guess some civilians on an island, and they turned him in for cash from Cross Guild. And so it's Sengoku and what's her name, Suru, I believe, talking about it. Honestly, I think it's kind of messed up. From what we knew about T-Bone, he was a really nice, really good, really ethical Marine. He was always about, doing 100 good deeds a day and stuff like that. He cared about his subordinates. He cared about civilians. So it's really kind of bittersweet, I guess you could say. Well, just not bittersweet, but really disappointing that, at the end of the day, it's the people he looked out for the best, the most that got to him. And I think Oda did this intentionally. I think Oda did this because basically we're getting in this really weird place, this really ambiguous place in One Piece where it's like, who are the good guys, who are the bad guys? We know that all pirates aren't good, but all pirates aren't great. We know that all Marines aren't good, but all Marines aren't great. And so we're having this really back and forth between, morals, ethics, and, philosophies. And it's like, whose way is right? And I think Oda's just kind of shining a spotlight on that because, once again, he chose one of the most friendly, nice, ethical Marines for this to happen to. And then not on top of that, we find out later when we see the guy talking to Buggy and Cross Guild and them, he's basically like, didn't really want to have to do this. I wasn't really a choice I wanted to make, but my family is starving. So what if it's between, betraying the Marines and feeding my family? I'm picking my family every time. And it's just one of those things that I feel like a lot of people can relate to. And also, why are these people starving? You have to remember about the celestial tribute, right? The celestial dragons are bleeding a lot of these islands dry. And if you remember from Arlong and so many other places, on top of the celestial tribute, you have these other Marines, extorting civilians and stealing money and stuff. So, desperate times, desperate measures and all that. So it's a really, really tough place to be right now. So anyway, they're talking about this, and Sue basically just echoes kind of what I've been saying. She's saying, I don't agree with it. This isn't me justifying it, but I understand why it's happening. And so Sengoku during this conversation is like, by the way, where's Garp? There's some, new rice crackers or something, fish crackers I want him to try. And they ask, Hina. Hina's her name. I was about to look it up. Hina, she's the one with the devil fruit that, makes her make cages, essentially, right? Or in shackles and stuff like that. And I just love the nonchalance of her being like, "Oh, he said something 2 days ago about going and rescuing Kobe," and immediately Sengoku and I think Suru as well are completely baffled, are completely in shock. And part of me is like, I believe Hina's a rear admiral now too, and I'm just like, he told you this and you didn't report it to anyone, you didn't say anything. So it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, is it just because she looks up to Garp, she respects him and decided not to tell him? Did she say, I won't say anything until I'm asked about it? She didn't want to lie to Sengoku and Suru? Or was it just one of those things where she was like, okay, either didn't think he was really gonna do it or didn't care, and she didn't feel like it was necessary to tell these guys. So honestly, that was hilarious to me. Yeah, like I said, one of the leaders of the village, or just whoever turned him in, I don't know how exactly they actually got a rear admiral. My head canon is they betrayed him, and T Bone just could not bring himself to defend himself or attack quote unquote innocent civilians, and he kind of just let them have it. That's how I would like to picture it, because it just makes it more like sad, depressing in that kind of way. Like this song we're talking about that is like so good. The vegan. That's the kind of person we're talking about. Sorry about that. That's my anyway. So, Buggy is just singing his praises, calling him evil incarnate, which I think is a little bit much. The guy obviously doesn't feel comfortable with it, and he's just all he's really worried about is the fact that the Marines might come down on the island, might come down on him, and he's like, no problem, you can join our crew. Blah blah blah, yada yada. We have a bunch of people cheering for Buggy. Uh, it is what it is. So, we finally get the Cross Guild ship, and not to anyone's surprise, it is a ship completely dedicated to Buggy. There's basically his like, I guess you call his image on the forefront of the ship. It's a like carnival clown style ship, and so the best part is you see Crocodile and Mihawk in the background, and they're like, "You expect us to sail around in that?" And so Buggy already knows that he's pretty much fucked, and he's like, let's take this to the meeting room. And so they go to the meeting room, and you just see, just Mihawk and Crocodile just, chilling, talking, and you see Buggy strung up on a hook, and it is freaking hilarious. It is hilarious. Now, so Mihawk and Crocodile are talking, and basically they're like, all right, despite all this, things are going according to plan. Marines are starting to finally see how much of a threat we are finally going to acknowledge and respect us. So we need to move. We need to move steps forward, and we're starting to kind of get an idea of their goal here. Mihawk, in my opinion, has only had one goal, well, two goals, and that's one, to be left alone and just to live his life and in leisure and do whatever he wants, which typical pirate stuff, but like more so, like he doesn't really mess with people that much. His secondary goal, basically, because he achieved his primary one, and that's basically he wants to find a worthy adversary, right? For whatever reason, doesn't deem Shanks one anymore after he lost his arm, and so he just wants someone to dethrone him from the best swordsman in the world title, or at least give him a run for his money. So he still, has that candle lit for Zoro, I'm hoping, or anyone else that can bring himself up to that. Crocodile is a much more interesting story, because his whole arc in Alabasta was basically, he wants to get Pluton, he wants to organization, and he wants to become Pirate King that way. It was very interesting because I didn't know if his plan to become Pirate King involved getting the One Piece or just obtaining enough power that, like, I declare myself Pirate King, do something about it. But from the way they're talking, it just seems like they just want to amass a quote unquote utopia. Maybe they want their own version of Hachinosu or something like that, where they can have a kingdom similar to how Kaido had Wano, how Big Mom had Whole Cake Island and stuff like that, and just live out their lives in, I don't want to say peace, but in pirate splendor, if you will. And something very interesting happens at this point. Buggy tells him, hey, you guys are thinking way too small. And they're like, yo, you better not be talking right now. And he's like, nah, I'm gonna say it. And so long story short, Buggy has a flashback with Shanks, and basically he shows a lot of disappointment in the fact that Shanks, as a little kid, doesn't want to go after the One Piece. Refuses to join. Buggy refuses to join Shanks' crew and admonishes him and tells him, like, I'm disappointed in you. You had so much promise. And then he kind of kills his own quote unquote dream, because he's like, if someone with as much promise as Shanks doesn't want to go for the One Piece, then why would I? And not gonna lie to you, a lot of people are hyping this up. A lot of people like this. It's whatever. Me personally, I'm not buying it. There's very few times where I'm adamantly against something Oda did. This is one of those times. Just gonna keep it real with you. Just keep it a stack. that has never really seemed to be Buggy's plan. He's telling Croc and Mihawk that they're backwards, but literally when we met Buggy, that's what all he was about, acquiring wealth, right? That's all he really wanted. He didn't want to be, Pirate King, or at least not in my opinion. We see an earlier flashback when he's trying to sneak off with the chop fruit. He was going to steal the devil fruit and like get off the boat. And so for me, I was just like, what the hell? Now, to be fair, we don't know exactly when this happened. I always kind of assume that, Roger was still alive, but maybe this happened after Roger. Maybe that's actually what happened. Maybe he became disillusioned with his dream. We also still have to figure out why. I forget. Maybe it was mentioned, let me know. But I don't think we were ever really told why him and Shanks weren't able to go with the rest of the crew to Laugh Tale and therefore the One Piece and stuff like that. But it's just kind of weird for me to hear all of a sudden that, Buggy's whole like grand plan is to, go after the One Piece, to get the One Piece. And I'm just like, wait, has that really been your dream? He's making it sound like it's been his dream the whole time. But from everything he's shown us, especially with that flashback earlier when he was trying to, you know, take that treasure map, take the devil fruit, sell the devil fruit, go and find that treasure and stuff like that. It really seemed like that he just wanted, a bunch of wealth and to live in splendor and just go off. So that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Let me know if I'm looking at it the wrong way. Let me know your thoughts on it. But like that kind of did not make sense to me, right? And so I kind of respect him standing up to, Mihawk and Crocodile and being like, I want to do this. Let's do this. Let's go out and get the One Piece. But like it's still weird to me because it's not even on his own power. Something really cool about One Piece is like the captains usually stand at the forefront. They're the ones that inspire and like protect the rest of the crew or utilize the rest of the crew. But at the end of the day, they're usually the most powerful. And this is going to be a situation where we're seeing a captain that is actually not the most powerful, which in my opinion is really cool. I kind of wish we saw more of this in One Piece because we're kind of biased in how a captain should act based upon Luffy. Luffy believes a captain should be strong enough to protect his entire crew, and the rest of the crew should be able to, handle what he cannot, right? And so I've always thought, when you think of a standard pirate crew, when you think of like a king, when you think of, someone in charge, like a general or whatnot, they don't necessarily have to be the strongest. In anime, typically, like, they subvert that expectation and they are, but like typically in real life, they're not. Like your knights. Like if you're a king, I don't expect you to be the like greatest warrior in the land. I like if you are, that's kudos to you. That's an extra benefit, but like that's too dangerous. You're the head of state. You're the head of a nation. It's too dangerous to send you into war. That's why you have like your lead knight, your top admiral, etc., etc. And so I do kind of like that in this way. He might not be the head honcho, but he has the combined might and will of Crocodile and Mihawk, right? And so I do like that aspect, but I just it kind of feels a little cheap and a little weird where he's like, I have this dream and I'm like looking down on you guys, but these two have put in the work to get to where they are. These two are like have put in the work to become as strong as they are. So for him to be like making it sound like they're the cowards and stuff like that, it's a little bit weird to me. It's like, okay, yeah, but like, why do we need you? And here's where we get into that. A lot of people are going to talk about Buggy's weird insatiable ability to inspire, which is very similar to Luffy's ability to inspire, right? But yeah, while we're talking about that, I've always thought that Buggy and Usopp are very, very similar characters. And I've always wondered what would happen if, like, they do something at the end of the series where everyone all of the main Straw Hats get like a part of the grand fleet, the command, because it always feels like in some way, shape, or form, Oda has some kind of plan to kind of make Usopp like a figurehead, and so like, not unfortunately, but unfortunately, Usopp is under Luffy. He is not the captain. Many times he's told people he's the captain. Many times he's inspired people. He's inspired the Tantata. He's inspired the people on Dressrosa. He's been called God Usopp, Sniper King, all these things. So he also has that similar ability to corral people around him. Not as good as Luffy, who can corral both good and bad, and Buggy that kind of like deceives people, because at least people are inspired by Luffy's actual ability, and when it comes to Buggy, people are deceived by like his perceived ability. But I don't know. I don't know. It's a very very interesting thing to think about. Um, Ever since Buggy became a Yonko, it had I've been on the side of the I've been on the side of a little weird to me. I don't think it's deserved, and I think it's a big gag. And I'm okay with the idea of it being a gag, but after that, like that's where it starts and stops for me. Uh, I need it to be exposed at some point. For some reason, Mihawk and Crocodile are humoring him, are entertaining this idea of keeping figurehead. I guess to keep the heat off of them. But like now that you've actually been killing Marines, especially rear admirals, I don't know how much of that protection is like gonna all go toward that ire. That protection is gonna all go towards Buggy. They're still gonna come for you. So there's a lot in the works here. One thing I want to touch on before I leave. Well, I actually have to talk about the end of the chapter two, but the fact that a lot of people in the community are coming for Mihawk, I can't tell if they're serious or not, calling him Midhawk and stuff, because apparently he doesn't want to go up against the other Yonko. And my thing is like, it's not his dream. Are you kidding me? He doesn't have these ideas of competing against all these other Yonko stuff. He just wants to fight. If any of the other Yonko are great swordsmen, then yeah, he's cool with that. But he doesn't want to be Pirate King. He doesn't want to take over islands and like be worshipped and all this stuff. He just either wants to one defeated by a great swordsman, have a fight with a great swordsman, and otherwise just be left alone, go back to his island. I think the whole reason he's here is because the Marines were sent to his island and he couldn't chill there anymore. I think that's the extent of it. So I don't think it's a matter of Mihawk being shook or scared. I think that's ridiculous. I think that's outlandish, but people are going to think whatever they want to think, like I think whatever I want to think. So I'll leave it there. One thing I will say though, sorry, I won't leave it there, is it would be really cool if, maybe Mihawk and Crocodile took Buggy under their wing and maybe did teach him a little bit, maybe helped him utilize hockey. He does have an incredibly powerful Delph in my opinion. He's pretty much in like completely immune to like, stab or slashing or cut damage. So if he were to take it seriously and improve, maybe we might be having a different discussion. I don't think he's overcoming Crocodile or Mihawk anytime soon, but maybe he can get to a level where he deserves a modicum of respect. Anyway, get to the Revolutionary Island, and we see all these vice captains of the other captains: Yellow Betty, Karasu, more Morley and stuff like that, right? And the one thing I'm curious about is I think one guy's name is Jin or Juron or something like that, and he was able to Sabo coming from far away, eating something, and I think they were binoculars. So I wonder if he has some kind of devil fruit that lets him inherit the ability of anything to digest. That would be super. He also kind of has a design that reminds me of what's his name, Fat Gum from My Hero Academia, so that was interesting. So yeah, we see Sabo in the next coming panels. He's okay, he's alive, and on top of that, he has a bunch of survivors with him from the Lucia Kingdom. So I'm very excited to see exactly how he was able to rescue them, how he was able to save them, how he was able to world government, how he knew the world government was going to erase Lucia, and on top of that, I can't wait to find out exactly what he has to tell um, you know, Dragon and Ivankov about what actually happened. So what a great way to leave off the chapter. We're not gonna get another one for I think another week. Uh, this week we weren't supposed to get one, and so now that we did, we're not getting it next week. So we're gonna have like I think so of a drought. So that's gonna suck. Also they were talking a little bit of Tyrant King. They honestly have no clue what happened. They think something along the lines of his programming kit, and that's why he went off to like Mary Joie, but they don't really have any clue. So that sucked. I was kind of hoping to get more information from them about that, but all in due time. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Very much appreciate it. Once again, sorry for the late review, but I got to it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Really want to know what you guys think about, what's happening with Garp. Let me know if you think Sengoku and Suru are gonna go out and try to, help Garp. If they're gonna send Marines out, if they're just gonna let it be. Let me know what you think about Cross Guild. Let me know what you think about, Buggy's claim. A lot of people are just eating up. A lot of people love it. A lot of people just really love Buggy as a character, and I think he's cool, but I'm just not like hype like other people. Like people like love Buggy. I'm just like, oh, he's a character, like doing great things. Ha ha ha. He fell upward. Ha ha ha. But like outside of a gag, like I have no real love for him. So there's that. Um, and yeah, let me know what you think Sabo is gonna say. Let me know what you think happened with the people of Lucia. And also let me know what you think about the fact that, does Buggy possess that special characteristic, that special trait that, draws people towards him. And if it's gonna have a substantial role in the end of the way. This has been Otaku Talk. Thank you for tuning in. Put a like, share, and subscribe. Peace.